We're at Faneuil Hall again this week, and this week our topic is perspective. Perspective is a means of putting on a flat surface buildings, architecture, many types of forms so that they appear to be not only three-dimensional but creating depth or receding in space. And it's a true science. There's lots of material on perspective. The one topic that we deal with today is basically 1 or 2 point perspective, which means that we have one vanishing point or two vanishing points where our lines are converging. These points are actually non-existent. They are created for us to draw angles on our paper which will serve to align windows and doors and rooftops, counters, everything else. Most of my lines in this case are going to be going from upper right to lower left because I'm looking at the building in a particular way. And we're also using a bit of perspective to create the pavers, which are on the ground at Faneuil Hall Marketplace. The lines that form the pavers also follow the rules, the laws of perspective. Hopefully you can see some of those lines in my drawing as I'm laying in this first wash. The lines, as I said, are placements for windows, for rooftops, anything that has a line which will move towards the vanishing point, which is about 12 inches off of the paper. And in this painting, it's a dark backdrop with a small light area through the middle and a illuminating front area. So in terms of process, what I'm doing is I'm establishing some of the lighter values first. I'm also isolating white pieces of paper that I will leave white through the whole painting. And this is an important strategy for the watercolorist because once we lose the white, we can never get the white of the paper back. Even with white paint, it's always a little less. So we strategize how to leave whites. And in this case, I've kind of isolated them with some of the lighter grays that I'm using in my painting. And as I develop the deeper grays, I'll be paying attention to that and trying to preserve those whites. One thing that I want you to notice is that these are light shapes. These are light colors, light shapes, and they're all connected. They're either overlapping or intersecting or in some way connected. This provides a certain integrity to the painting. If it were dark shapes moving through a light area, I would try to do the same thing. I try to find ways to connect them or overlap these shapes. When they're scattered, it tends to present a disjointed feeling to the painting. Well, at this stage, I've moved on to the dark midtone. The midtone is the dominating tone in the painting, and in this painting, it's a strong midtone. There will be darker areas when we paint the windows, when we paint some of the shadows or some of the clothing. These areas will be darker, but small areas in relation to the overall midtone. The overall midtone in this painting is this dark midtone that I'm applying now. Basically using ultramarine blue, some burnt sienna, some neutral tint. And like I said, I'm painting the shadow side of this wall, or this facade. It's a facade of many, many stores, which are a background to the cafe on this early morning. Yeah, you see me exercising a little control around my figures, trying to avoid cutting off their heads with the wayward stroke. It's happened before, and it's a tragic moment in the life of a watercolor when your brush goes stray and you lose an arm or a leg. You can recover. It's true, we can recover, but there is always a moment of grief when that happens. So I'm continuing this dark tone through the cafe. It's an open-air cafe. People are lining up at the counters, We see people moving behind the cafe. We see people moving in the cafe. It's a unique setting in Faneuil Hall. And on a summer day like today, everybody's kind of gathered around there. It seems to be an attractive place. Through the cafe, we see a lot of white supports and rooftop elements. We also see a lot of cobalt blue in signage used through the cafe. So that provides a reason to use some of our stronger blues and, in fact, carry some of those blues to other parts of the painting. At this stage, I'm responding to the dark counter area, and which is, you see, is also highlighting a few figures. So I'm having to paint around these figures and these beams. And this is time-consuming and painstaking work, but it's preparing us for the next stage.